Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Weird and Wonderful, the show where we explore the most bizarre and fascinating things in the world. Today, we are going to look at 10 terrifying things that washed up on beaches. You won't believe what some people have found on the shore, from giant sea monsters to mysterious blobs. Let's get started. Tangled Coral. In July 2021, a strange object washed up on a beach in Texas, USA. It looked like a twisted rope with a yellowish color and a rubbery texture. Some people thought it was a sea snake or a worm, but it turned out to be a type of coral called antipods. This coral usually lives in deep water and forms long, thin branches that can grow up to several meters. Sometimes, these branches break off and get tangled together, forming a rope-like mass. This is what happened to the coral that ended up on the Texas beach, where it puzzled and amazed the locals. 9. Tar balls. In February 2021, a massive oil spill occurred in the Mediterranean Sea, affecting the coasts of Israel and Lebanon. The spill was caused by a ship that leaked hundreds of tons of crude oil into the water. The oil formed sticky clumps called tar balls, which washed up on the beaches, covering the sand, rocks, and wildlife. The tar balls were not only ugly, but also toxic and harmful to the environment. Thousands of volunteers and workers joined the efforts to clean up the beaches and rescue the animals affected by the oil one. 8. By the wind sailors. By the wind sailors are a type of jellyfish that live on the surface of the ocean. They have a blue disc-shaped body and a small sail on top that helps them move with the wind. They usually travel in large groups, called colonies, that can contain millions of individuals. However, when the wind changes direction, the colonies can get stranded on the shore, where they die and dry up. This is what happened in 2021, when millions of by-the-wind sailors washed up on beaches around the world, especially in the Pacific coast of the US. The phenomenon was linked to a rise in ocean temperatures, caused by a climate change event known as the blob. 7. Killer whale. In January 2021, a young killer whale was found stranded on a beach in Scotland, UK. The whale was still alive, but in a critical condition. It was lying on its side, with the tide fast approaching. A team of rescuers from the British divers Marine Life Rescue and some locals rushed to the scene and managed to lift the whale onto a special stretcher. They then transported it to deeper water, where they released it back into the sea. The whale was identified as a male, about 3.4 meters long, and estimated to be between 3 and 4 years old. It was not clear why the whale got stranded, but it was likely that it got separated from its pod or chased by predators. 6. Baleen whale. In May 2021, a huge carcass washed up on a beach in Indonesia. It was so big and decomposed that it was hard to tell what it was. It had a grayish color, a bloated body, and a lot of red fluid leaking from it. Some people thought it was a giant squid or an unknown sea monster, but experts soon identified it as a type of baleen whale. The whale was about 10 meters long and weighed about 10 tons. It had grooves on its head and plates on its mouth that once held the baleen filters. The whale probably died of natural causes and was carried by the currents to the shore, where it started to rot and release gas. 5. Plastic waste. Plastic waste is one of the most common and disturbing things that wash up on beaches. Every year, millions of tons of plastic end up in the ocean, where they break down into smaller pieces and harm the marine life. Some of the plastic items that are frequently found on the shore are rope, net, fragments, wrappers, bags, bottles, caps, and fishing gear. These items not only pollute the environment, but also pose a threat to the animals that ingest them or get entangled in them. In 2021, a study revealed the top 10 items washing up on UK beaches, based on the analysis of thousands of images collected by a project called the Plastic Tide. 4. Council bin. In March 2020, a surprising discovery was made on a beach in Norfolk, UK. A large green council bin was found on the sand, with the words Peterborough City Council on it. The bin had traveled more than 100 miles from its original location in Peterborough, a city in eastern England. It was believed that the bin was blown away by strong winds during a storm and ended up in a river, which then carried it to the sea. The bin was spotted by a ranger from the National Trust, who contacted the council and arranged for its return. 3. 1980s picnic. In March 2020, another unusual find was made on a beach in Merseyside, UK. A pile of plastic items, dating back to the 1980s, was uncovered by the tide. The items included a packet of crisps, a bottle of lemonade, a tub of margarine, and a yogurt pot. The labels and logos on the items indicated that they were from popular brands of the time, such as Walker's, Schweppes, Stork, and Ski. The items were remarkably well preserved, despite being in the water for about 40 years. They showed how long plastic can last in the environment and how much waste we produce. 2. Giant eyeball. In October 2012, a mysterious object washed up on a beach in Florida, USA. It was a huge blue eyeball about the size of a softball. It had blood vessels and nerves attached to it, and it looked fresh and intact. The eyeball sparked a lot of curiosity and speculation, as people wondered what kind of animal it belonged to. Some guessed it was from a squid, a whale, or a giant fish. The mystery was solved by experts from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, who identified the eyeball as belonging to a swordfish. The eyeball was probably cut out by a fisherman and thrown overboard. 1. Monok monster. In July 2008, a bizarre creature washed up on a beach in Monok, New York, USA. It had a hairless gray body, a long tail, a beak-like mouth, and sharp teeth. It looked like a cross between a dog, a pig, and a rodent. The creature was dubbed the Monok monster and became an internet sensation as people tried to figure out what it was. Some suggested it was a hoax, a genetic experiment, or an alien. The most likely explanation was that it was a raccoon that had decomposed and lost its fur and upper jaw. However, the creature's body was never recovered or examined, so the mystery remains. That's it for today's episode of Weird and Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed learning about 10 terrifying things that washed up on beaches. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get notified of our future videos. Also, let us know in the comments which one of these things you found the most scary or interesting. Thanks for watching and see you next time.